Thank you for listening to the Golden Hour Drip podcast with me, Logan Lee Miller. Enjoy the show. Welcome back to the Golden Hour Drip podcast. I'm your host, Logan Lee Miller. Happy Friday. Oh my gosh, I'm so happy it is Friday. We are taking a chill pill this weekend, and I'm honestly so happy. We have one small family event, and it's going to be chill. It's going to be smooth sailing, and I could not be more happy. So the summer has been all about traveling for me. I've been going one place to the next. I've been experiencing all the things. I've had so many events, and I'm really happy, honestly. This summer has been truly happy. I hate to compare the years in my life against each other, but that's the only way that you will ever have any sort of progression or realization of how far you've came, or what could be improved or how better it was before, because we all like to romanticize the past, and so sometimes it might seem better than it actually was. We have this idea in our head that it was really great, when in reality we had those day-to-day struggles, right? So I try not to compare between the years, but this year has been especially happy. There's been so many leaps and bounds that I have done in my personal life and my professional life, and I have been working very hard on my mental health. I've been working super hard on balancing stress and making sure that I'm managing my time well. And sometimes I do it really well, and other times, there's always improvement that could be done, right? And so I noticed that there's been changes in my attitude, and when I go to sleep, what I'm thinking about, and when I wake up, how I feel, and I'm just in a much better place than I was previously. In different environments, different years, different sessions of my life, right? And we all have these highs and lows, right? So I have noticed that I have a bit of a numbness feeling in my pinky. So it sounds more intense than it is, but I was carrying a bunch of stuff, and I had my Stanley Cup, the handle on my pinky, and all of a sudden I felt this pain, right? I had everything together, and I pinched a nerve in my pinky. Now, this is not the first time where I felt a numb pinky on my right side, and I was thinking, oh my gosh, what could this be? And previously, 2 weeks ago, I had set up an appointment for a chiropractor and for dry needling. I've been really interested in acupuncture and how it works, and what it can relieve, and how it can help your overall body and tension and all these things, right? So I had already scheduled an appointment, and then this pinky numbness happened the weekend before the week started, right? And I was oh my gosh, what am I gonna do? It feels so totally bizarre, right? To have your pinky feel a little bit numb. And so I wasn't thinking anything of it. I went to the chiropractor appointment. It was so great. Dr. Ray was amazing. She's in Lee Summit. She was so sweet, so kind, so caring. And we were going over, and we were talking about my concerns. And I came in there, and I was hey, I have been sleeping scrunched up for as long as I can remember. I don't know why, but when I get to bed, I'm laying on my stomach, and my shoulders go all the way up to my ears, and I basically lay as tightly as possible on the bed. And she thought it was a bit weird that I was on my stomach instead of my side. She goes, oh, usually people curl up on the side, but you're curling up on your stomach. And I'm yeah, I don't know, but my neck and my shoulders are very tense. I would like to relax them, right? I have seen all over about Trap Talks, which if you are not on TikTok and don't know what Trap Talks is, it's Botox in your trapezius muscle, and it relaxes it people say it's in comparison to like a Barbie neck. It will relax that muscle and it will lengthen your neck, all of these things that are like strictly cosmetic. But I saw a post about a girl who had gotten the Barbie neck, the trap tox or whatever, and she said it relaxed her muscle that had been so stressed out, that has been tense, and she's like, I am an oldest daughter, I feel like I have all these pressures on me and I have to do this and I have to do that. And I was like, girl, you are speaking my language. I feel like we are the same person. And so I was thinking, you know, like I could get Botox in my shoulders. I've gotten Botox in the middle of my forehead. It actually has just metabolized and I'm able to like squish my forehead together. I've been wanting to dabble in the silicone patches, so I actually ordered some. So stay tuned on how the silicone patches compare to the Botox that I got, because Botox really, it lasts 4 months maximum for me. It starts to like slowly release at like the 3-month, 3.5 mark for me, and then it's totally gone by the 4-month. So I'm thinking about like my shoulders and my neck, and it's gonna take around like 50 units of Botox for your shoulders and your muscles. 50 units is a lot of units in comparison to my 9 units I got in my forehead. I know that my neck is a lot different than my forehead, right? Like there's more muscle, it's more skin, it's more area, it's all those things. So I get that. But 50 units, 3 to 4 months potentially. I haven't got it in my shoulders before, so I don't know how it's gonna last on me or anything, but I'm just like ballparking on this measurement and if it's gonna have some longevity for me, if it is going to be worth it. I don't know, but I will say that I was thinking, okay, like a needle is going in there, it's administering the Botoxin, the Botox, which is a toxin that freezes or enables the muscles from contracting. So I'm like, okay, like I know what it is, I know what it can do, but isn't like dry needling also going into the muscle and also like helping release the pain or the stress that has been built up, right? I'm not a doctor, I don't know what I'm talking about. I've just, in my head, I'm like, that would make sense to me. So I had originally met with Kennedy and we talked about it. She recommended Dr. Ray. I was like, I made an appointment. So I then had a little twinge in my pinky that weekend and I go to my appointment on Wednesday. So my pinky had been off and on numb for the past like 2 or 3 days, and I was like, oh, this has happened to me before, probably 2 or 3 months ago. It happened to me, it went away, it was fine. I figured it was a pinched nerve. This time I felt it happen, so I knew it wasn't anything like dire, it's fine. And so I was doing my introduction with Dr. Ray. She was talking to me about, you know, what I was feeling, how my body was, what my concerns were. I said my neck is my concern. I feel like I have a lot of pent up like stress in my neck. It's very tense. She asked me about tension headaches. I don't normally get headaches that often. I try to stay super hydrated, but if I happen to get a little dehydrated, the tension headache does come. And then I was like, oh yeah, and my pinky is numb. And she was like, okay, it's definitely like, she felt my neck, she felt my shoulders, and she was like, your elbows are super tight, your shoulders are super tight, and your neck is extremely tight. She said I was a good candidate, so she adjusted me, and then she did the dry needling. She put 4 needles into my neck. They were super, super small. I could not even feel them at all. And I didn't feel them until she attached like little clips on them, and she administered an electromagnetic current, and then it like twitched my muscle. And then I could feel it, because that was the whole point. Like, you tell her when, oh, like it's a little much, or hey, like that's not enough. And so I never had this done. I never had dry needling done, and I never had this like magnetic current, right? Like I have seen both my stepdad and my dad use a TENS unit, which has like a twitching thing, but this was a needle stuck into my muscle, right? So she did this for 10 minutes. I was laying on the table, and after the 10 minutes, it felt sore. it felt like my muscles had just been worked. It felt very sore, and I also felt taller. So I did this over like in the morning. I went to her like 10 o'clock. That evening, I decided that I was gonna go for a run. So as I was running, I was like, oh my gosh, I can breathe so much better. I didn't realize it, but I could not breathe hardly. Like, it's crazy. You don't notice some of the things that are tacked on to like your everyday life. It just becomes part of routine. So here I am breathing properly. I'm like, this is so good. And I had been worried about like my lung capacity and making sure that I could bring oxygen to my body. That's why I love Cycle Bar so much, because I want to increase my lung capacity. And already when she adjusted me, I was like, I feel like I can breathe better. So I did my little mile. It was actually 2 miles. My step count was horrible yesterday, so I forced myself to go on a walk. I got a little something in my like body, just wanted to go for a little run. Maybe it was the pressure that Lily wants to do the turkey trot this year. So I'm like, oh my gosh, like I'm gonna have to get back on my running grind. I'm gonna have to like actually start trying to do it again. I'm like, you're kidding me, this sucks. But no, I do enjoy running. I love running. I want to be a running girly. So like, I'm gonna go do it. It'll be fine. It'll be fun. But I was like, wow, I can breathe better. That night, I had a little bit of anxiety, just like a titch, just a little bit. And I just was thinking to myself, you know, like I haven't been anxious going to bed for quite some time now. I'm so grateful for it. So happy. But as I was laying there, I was like, go to sleep. Like it was abnormal for my body to be anxious before bed. So I was like convincing myself that I wasn't worried about anything, that was fine, like go to bed. And it wasn't until the morning that I thought to myself, I've heard this saying where when you have your muscles tensed up or they're like really, really tight, usually it's due to an emotional situation or stress or something that has caused havoc in your life, right? And so when it gets released, your body hasn't processed them yet. So sometimes it takes a little time to process them. And I was just thinking, oh my gosh, like she adjusted me and we did the dry needling and we have released some of the tension from this muscle. So it's only normal that I would have to process the emotion that was held so tight in this muscle for the last 3 to 4 to 6 years. You know, if I think about my college career and becoming an adult, because I mean, I had some stressors in my childhood, but nothing intense, nothing terrible. I had a beautiful, great life growing up. And it's really when you get into adulthood that things start like kicking at you. So if I think about that, oh my gosh, or even like the certain time periods in my life where I was very, very stressed and I was like, this is literally so much work, this is so hard, this is whatever. I was thinking the next morning, I was like, I probably just need to process some of that emotion. I'm having this release of tension, and it's only normal that I would think about the stuff that happened when it got all tight and tense. Now, if you don't think that your muscles hold the memories or and you don't think that you need to process energy out of your body, then like, yeah, I don't know. I would say like, this is just like me trying to process it. I'm not a doctor, I'm not a psychologist, I'm not any of those things, psychiatrist, sorry. But I'm just like figuring it out for myself. And you choose your own reality, right? Like your thoughts are your reality. So that is what I'm gonna think, and that will be my reality. But I'm just feeling so much better. I feel a little taller. I feel like I'm still tight. My muscles are very sore. This is the next day after I got my dry needling done, and I go back next week. So I'm excited to see what is done. I'm excited to see how it progresses, and I'm just so happy that I'm in a place in my life where I can relieve that stress and I can release that tension, because I like have had it bottled up for so long. And I'm also to a point in my life, I'm not adding to that stress, right? Like I can release it. It's not like I'm stacking it upon it because I'm in a different time period in my life. And this is where you get in your habits. This is where you put in the work to fall back on when things get stressed and scary and when you're unsure about things, right? So I am just like holding on to my routines and feeling really grateful for where I'm at in my life and how I'm just able to go to a service that will help me. I know it's helped me breathe so much better already, and that seems crazy, but I can breathe better. Like it goes through my nose and there's no restriction. It's so nice. And also I'm pretty glad that I got adjusted yesterday. She like did my ankles and she's like, oh, it looks like your hip is like slightly, one side is longer by just a little, so she adjusted it. It was perfect. She's like, there you are, because today I went and got my hair cut. So as I was like, and also she's darker, we are ready for fall, we are in the fall vibes. But as I was like sitting in the chair, they always say like your hairdresser doesn't want you to cross your legs because then it will adjust with your hair and make it uneven when they're cutting it. So I was like, how perfect is this? I got an adjustment. I feel taller than I've ever felt. It's like my body is completely aligned for my haircut. Like that is good planning, okay? My spine is aligned, my haircut is aligned. I am feeling good, looking good, and could not be more happier. So I am excited to see how my body progresses and how it feels in the next couple days and how it will feel Monday. I will say the like electromagnetic part was so crazy. Like as it was going and like shaking my muscles, it was like this uncontrollable twitch, and that's what they wanted. They wanted like your muscle to twitch because that was increasing the blood flow to the area, and it was also helping relax the muscle. It was like working it out so then it could release and relax. Like I said, I didn't know what to expect. I hadn't had that done before. But I didn't take a photo. I wish I would have, but I didn't take a photo of my neck before, but I wish I would have taken a photo of my neck before. So then if I saw any release of like tension, to see if it was similar to the trap talks, because those photos, they show like the before and after, and it's like, oh my gosh, like they absolutely got something done because their neck is like much smoother, much smaller. So I'm excited to see what happens to my neck. Like because she felt on one side and she's like, your neck is like kind of turned a little bit. And if you remember from this past February, I had my jaw out of alignment. And so like it hasn't been out of place for a while, so I'm very happy about that. But I got adjusted then, and so like this time she adjusted me, but it wasn't as much as I was adjusted this past February at a different physician's office. But like she didn't have to adjust me as much, but she still had to adjust me. So that has me think, oh my gosh, like how often should you be getting adjusted? How often should I be dry needling? So I'm very excited to see her next week so that I can continue on my progression, so I can continue reducing the stress from my shoulders, and just it's good for you, right? Like we are all about longevity and making sure that we are living these happy, healthy lives. So I'm just to a point where I want to reduce the stress and release the tension, and she did it for me, and I feel so good. Now, it's one thing to like get it done, but also you have to keep up with the rest of it. You have to make sure that you are having easy mornings and lowering your cortisol and going to bed at a proper time, and like making sure that you're taking care of yourself, drinking enough water, eating proper meals. All of those go into like your stress levels. So I don't want to come back 6 months from now and have so much stress built up in my shoulders. I was like, what was it even worth? You know, like why did you go if you weren't going to make a change? it's like, if you're gonna spend money, if you're gonna spend time, if you're gonna have someone work on your shoulders, you need to also like pair your lifestyle with it, because if not, you are literally digging yourself a hole. So I'm not digging myself a hole anymore. I'm feeling so good. I'm feeling so just adjusted, and I can breathe good, and I cannot wait for my next appointment. So this is your sign to reduce the stress in your life and go book a chiropractic appointment as soon as possible, because I am so glad that it was recommended to me and that it was just like extra good for my body. So thank you so much for listening to today's episode. Be sure to like and subscribe if you're on YouTube or any of the podcast apps, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!